That's a seawall. We're out here in Better Hope, and we're going to take a look at what's happening in this neck of the woods. We actually did a video in this neck of the woods about, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, before the pandemic. And I wanted to see how things are changing on the East Coast. What up, raft leaders? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are on the east coast of Demerara. Just got off the seawall, and we're going to take a look at what is happening here on the East Coast, because it's been a while since the last time I've been in this neck of the woods, and I wanted to see how things are changing in the last 5 years or so. Morning. And thought I'd just get off the seawall because I usually run on the seawall. By this point I'm about 6 miles out from home, and so I got off the seawall, where in fact I didn't record any video, but as you can see there is a forest, a mangrove forest. Right beyond that forest is the sea. So there's a mangrove forest that has grown up since the last time we were in this neck of the woods, which is in fact a good thing, because the mangrove protects the coast, and there's a deliberate effort to plant mangrove forests along the coast. The problem with that is, of course, it obscures the view of the sea. But here we are in, what is it, Better Hope, somewhere around there on the east coast. We're heading out towards the Rupert Craig Highway, and I wanted to show you what's happening in this neck of the woods, because the last time we were here this was just a quiet neighborhood. Morning. A quiet neighborhood in the on the east coast. As you can see, the German flags indicate that the PPPC has been campaigning in this area. It's usually one of the strongholds of that particular political party, and it's far enough away from the city, 6 miles, 7 miles outside of the city, to be not directly impacted by city affairs. However, with the expansion of the growth of the city, the Greater Georgetown area, this is now, on the considered a suburb of Georgetown, right? So what once was a rural community, Better Hope, Good Hope, these places are now suburbs because of the expansion, the city spreading out in all directions, well, except north, expanding east and south. So this community was once rural, right? Once considered like country, but now, morning. But now, of course, it's like a suburb of Georgetown. Morning. So what has happened since the last time we were here? Well, it seems as if there's some house renovations. Morning. Some house renovations that have gone up. People are still renovating their homes, building. It's a reserve land for a canal. Probably needs cleaning. You can see some sugar cane. So remnants of the fact that this area across the road used to be Gaisuku plantation, sugarcane plantation. Morning. And some of that vegetation, the sugarcane plants, are still in the neighborhood. But yeah, people have continued to renovate their homes, building their dream homes. You can see some homes are still in their original form, wood. But of course, a lot of homes are now being built out of concrete and steel, reinforced concrete and steel, because of course it's a lot more durable than wood homes. Morning. So as we approach the Rupert Craig Highway, this is the east coast of Demerara. Right, the east coast of Demerara. And morning. China Wholesale Inc. Let's go. The first thing you see as you're close to the east coast of Demerara. It's about, I don't know, 6 in the morning. Here we are. That's Atlantic Gardens on the other side. Right, Atlantic Gardens. That's the. Let's take a look at what has changed with this building. The last time we were here, there is a. What is it? A new home, a new multi-story, either hotel or condominium that was being built here. These thing, ours thing, mechanical. I suppose this is some kind of repair shop, salvage yard. So what's happening with this building? This apparently is a multi-story condominium or a hotel that's being built right here on the boundary of Atlantic Gardens and overlooking the highway. Don't know that it's made much progress since the last time. I don't know that they've made much progress since the last time we were here. It seems as if the windows have been installed, summer windows, but it's not complete yet. It's not completed. So this is the east coast. Morning. East coast of Demerara. And what we're just looking at, that is Atlantic Gardens. I promised to take a look at some of the older neighborhoods, right, more mature neighborhoods, housing developments. Atlantic Gardens is one of those housing developments that was built way back in the 60s, 70s. And we'll take a look at the layout of Atlantic Gardens in a future video. We're walking on this sidewalk, but of course, serious hazards here. Point to a lack of maintenance idental over here. So yeah, that's Atlantic Gardens today. I think I've shown some of these buildings in the video the last time I was up here on the east coast of Demerara walking a few months ago. Cutting edge fabrications. So a lot of commercial and residential buildings popping up here. This is Massey Distribution and Massey Trading. This massive complex and storage facility is part of the Massey Group that operates now a car dealership and supermarkets and a bunch of commercial interests in Guyana. Massey, a Trinidadian company. I did a video a few years ago about the GDP of Trinidad and Tobago. It turns out that because of the boom in the economy in Guyana, Trinidad is actually benefiting, and they're going to see about a 1.5% economic growth on top of maybe a 1 or 2% economic growth for the last couple of years, due in fact to the expansion of Trinidad companies into Guyana. And because of the growing economy, they were able to reap significant benefit from expanding their operations in Guyana. Neil and Massey, for example, Massey group of companies. And so Guyana might see about 25 to 50% economic growth this year, but Trinidad is going to piggyback onto that and get another 1.5. So their GDP, I think, for 2021 was $24 billion. Remember the last time I reviewed that, they were about $21 billion. So they've actually grown when I predicted that they would remain stagnant. So I didn't take into account the fact that a lot of Caribbean countries are going to benefit from the growth in Guyana, and particularly Trinidad, because of their closeness. Massey stores And the Master Distribution Centers is one of those Trinidad companies that is benefiting from its expansion in Guyana because of the growth of Guyanese economy. So in 2021, I think Guyana's GDP was about $8 billion, bringing our GDP per capita to somewhere around $10,000 per person, 10,000 US dollars per person. But Trinidad, their GDP grew to $24 billion, and their per capita GDP per capita is about $15,000. Trinidadians make about 15,000 US dollars per year. So Guyana's is growing, and just as I predicted, but Trinidad is also growing because they're able to benefit from the growth in Guyana. And like I said in the previous video, Guyana will eventually pass Trinidad, the Bahamas, and all these countries in the next within the next decade, probably within the next 5 years, because GDP is probably doubling. Since then, I think GDP in 2022 was close to 13 to 15 billion dollars, and 2023 will be 17 to 20 billion dollars. Right, so because of the 50% economic growth, Guyana is probably going to be surpassing Trinidad, like I said in the previous video, within the next 5 years. That's just one of the interesting outcomes. Here on the East Coast, now all these new developments, or old developments, Felicity for example, the next neighborhood, these houses are part of Felicity. Promise to go inside and take a look at what's happening in some of the older developments, so that you see, for example, how the neighborhoods are laid out. We'll do that, let's say, starting with Felicity. And so you see how things are changing, in particularly residential neighborhoods out here in Georgetown, out here in the East Coast. East coast of Demerara. Right, a lot of the newer homes that are being built by returning Guyanese tend to look like this. Homes that are basically copies of homes in the American South. And I think I've shown some of these in a recent previous video. But gated communities like this one ahead of me, this is a gated community, are also becoming popular. Part of it is, of course, security, for security reasons, and part of it is, of course, because people just want to live together. As they say, birds of a feather flock together. But this is what's happening out here in Felicity. So we came through from the seawall, where you can see all of that mangrove, the mangrove forest that is now taken over the seawall. We used to be able to walk all the way along the seawall. Now it's covered with mangrove. So I came through it to Better Hope and came out at Atlantic Gardens. There is Neil Massey group in Atlantic Gardens, and over here now we're at Felicity. So that's what's happening here, guys. That's how things are changing. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. It's Friday morning, so this is Friday morning traffic. It's about 6 a.m. maybe a little after 6 a.m. on Friday morning on the East Coast. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in Georgetown, Guyana. Later!